Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to this session of FDP, a very important session that is on outcome-based curriculum and implementation. Now, takeaway of this session would be you will be introduced to what is a curriculum, what are its components, and what we mean by outcome-based curriculum. Now, the outcome-based curriculum is what is recommended by outcome-based education system. Then how we design of outcome-based curriculum, how graduate attributes and program outcomes contribute to curriculum development. We have already been introduced about program outcomes and also graduate attributes, which are integral, components of outcome-based education, how they help to design curriculum. Then curriculum implementation techniques and strategies. Please, I would be very glad if you ask questions, because a interactive session is always a much better learning system. There will be some repetitions, and repetitions are done many times to emphasize points, and in the context of PowerPoint presentation, as you know, it's difficult to go back and forth. So I have used at certain stages, I have used these slides in this repetition. Please, that is for better clarification and so on. So when I say outcome-based teaching, learning, and a curriculum, what does it mean? Traditionally, teaching is regarded as a process of imparting knowledge to students. Teaching and other educational activities are based on the question of what topics to teach and to what depth. That's what we have been trained. Outcome-based teaching learning shifts the focus to the question of what knowledge and abilities students should acquire and demonstrate on the completion of the course. So outcome-based curriculum is based on outcome-based education principles, is student-centric, and is prepared according to the outcome-based education framework via intended learning outcomes. You are by now quite familiar with that in outcome-based education, it is the responsibility of the faculty and the institute of deciding the intended learning by the students, maybe at the course level or maybe at the program level. Now, if we look at in outcome-based education framework, we focus on the fact what the student should achieve, what the student should learn. Then for this, we design the curriculum accordingly. That is how to make students achieve the outcomes, the intended outcomes. That's after having decided the curriculum, we focus on teaching learning, how to make these students, how to understand these students, how to enable students to know these things. Then comes the assessment. The assessment is a very important component of outcome-based education system. That is outcome-based assessment. That is how to measure what the student has achieved, what the student has learned, how will he demonstrate. Because to improve things, it's essential that we measure. You all know the measurement is the basics for improvement strategy. What we cannot measure, we cannot improve. So while the student cannot achieve the outcomes, intended outcomes, that is where our focus comes. So outcome-based education framework is very elaborate and enables us to take the route whereby measurement and improvement are focused. Now, curriculum, as I mentioned, is a very extremely important component of outcome-based education framework. Now, what is curriculum? Refer to the academic content, processes and practices by which students learn, gain knowledge, and develop skills under the auspices of the institute, that is faculty and the institute. So it is not simply syllabus. It's the syllabus plus the teaching learning processes plus the infrastructure plus the facilities. So curriculum involves syllabus, co-curricular activities, extracurricular activities, which are required for developing the full potential of the students. So when curriculum is designed, which helps to maintain standards, which help to specify the contents of the level for which curriculum is being designed, that is certificate, diploma, first year, second year, resources and facilities provided to achieve this, to implement the curriculum, instructional assessment processes, then the evidence that improvement have been done. That is, it is a holistic approach to find out. So teaching learning assessment, there are three core components: syllabus, teaching, learning, assessment, and improvement, and activities are aligned with the intended learning outcomes. Intended learning outcomes, what we want student to learn, what we want student to demonstrate. So learning and teaching activities are designed accordingly. For example, by now the outcome refers to knowledge, skill, attitude, and behavior. There are four components, or four elements of a outcome. So when I want to measure, when I want to assess skill, I cannot use the same method as I'm using it to determine the knowledge. Or if I want to assess the attitude or behavior of the student, I cannot use the same method. Thus, OBE highlights that when these things are to be assessed, appropriate method should be used. So the appropriate teaching learning method should be used. So intended learning outcome mean for intended outcome, how they are achieved, we have to have appropriate learning and teaching activities designed to meet the learning outcomes. Then appropriate assessing methods in order to assess the appropriate outcome. So outcome-based education curriculum, and if we look at the outcome-based education curriculum features and the traditional features, now in traditional model, we prepare the curriculum to teach mainly the syllabus and associated activities. We teach the course, assess what students have learned via examination and presentation. Now, in the traditional model, curriculum is content oriented. That means what is the content is mainly with respect to the syllabus. Now, in outcome-based model, we decide beforehand intended course objectives and learning outcomes. Now, ensure these learning outcomes are implementable and accessible. That means we have to decide the level of what these things will be, and also see when I say outcome-based model, now we ensure these learning outcomes are implementable, accessible. Now, if I say problem-solving skill, then it should be measurable. Now, determine what education activities will help to attain these outcomes. That means these may differ. In the first year, they may be on one type. In second year, emphasis may be on different thing, and so on. And also provide the relevant resources. Feedback from the student become very important. So assessment of the students. Assessment is not done by one method, but always more than two methods. We will discuss this in our next session also. Assessment, how important assessment is as regards outcome-based model. So such students attained the course outcomes. Is there improvement? Evaluate and review outcomes and modify teaching and assessment as appropriate, which means the curriculum that is designed under the OBE model looks at the student learning and student competencies. especially outcome focused. So the major difference between traditional style and the new OB style is one is content focused and the other is outcome based focused. So this is a simple, illustration. Curriculum should promote interior teaching of the learners. That means emphasis should be on all the four components. In traditional teaching, the major emphasis has been on the knowledge, partly on the skill, but mainly on the skill. Now, in integrated holistic teaching, or the emphasis should be on all the four components. Now, characteristics of OB curriculum, it specifies when we design a OB curriculum, it specifies program aims, it is program learning outcomes, course learning outcome, and how the level of their performance. Please indicate these are indicated beforehand. With every curriculum that you design, this will be part. It is objective and outcome driven, where every stated objective outcomes can be assessed and evaluated. It is centered around the needs of the students and the stakeholders. See, when I say students, all right, stakeholders, industry, it takes into account the industry requirements. It takes into account the societal environment. It takes into account tries to take into account all the stakeholder needs. So whatever we say student will learn is our intentional. That is, we are responsible for the outcome or the learning that student will be doing it. So when we specify the program objectives, then what it indicates is what will be our student be after 3 or 4 or 5 years. Look at these are for the alumni. So OBE says your curriculum should be such that you look after how your alumni will perform. And that is possible by specifying program objectives and also some known as program objectives. Now then we have program outcomes. Now please remember, program outcomes are the learnings, what we are to prove that they have learned it. Objectives are our goals. So program outcomes will consist of abilities to be attained by students before they graduate are formulated based on the program objectives. Program outcome address knowledge. As we see, program outcome, teaching learning methods may have to be integrated like this. So outcome-based curriculum has the characteristics. I sum up. What do I want my student to learn? How should I deliver the content? How should I know whether students have learned or not? These are the characteristics of outcome-based curriculum. Now, in outcome-based curriculum, the student achievement is also ensured with certain standards. Standards जैसे मान लीजिए BTech standards हैं, MTech standards हैं, या diploma standards हैं, which mean the level that the student should acquire with regard to the outcome, their understanding, their communication, and so on. Then how will student learn? That how student will demonstrate that they have achieved that. That means there are methods for this. Then what strategies the teacher and student should adopt, what resources are available. So these are all part of the curriculum. Now, factors which influence the design of the curriculum is student factor. That means let us say student किस level के हैं, किस standard के हैं, किस background के हैं. Student factor, then social factor. What are the expectations of parents and society? This contribute to the design of the curriculum. Economic factor, education and training of student. What kind of facilities we can provide? ऐसा नहीं है, facility we provide at a level where we are not able to implement it. So as regard the student maybe social standing or economic standing and so on. Then technological factor, technology tools for better learning and global competition. Environmental factor, issues such as pollution, sustainability. Government factor, Government policy and funding. See, NEP 2020 has emphasized the way design for the curriculum is to be carried out, maybe for the school level, for the college level, for the university level. Both private and government institutions rely on funding, expectation of return by government and taxpayer. These factors are encapsulated and expressed as graduate attributes, which help to design the curriculum. Now, the issue is these are the factors which we have in mind. How I trans- transport these or encapsulate these factors as regard teaching goes, as regards delivery, as regards training of the student goes. This goes with the when we define what are known as graduate attributes. Graduate attributes take into account the expectations of the stakeholders, industry. Now, what are the graduate attributes? Are the qualities, the education levels that we expect from our students. So all these factors which I mentioned here, student, social, or economic, they are expressed as graduate attributes, and I'll explain a little later how this is done. Because we have to do it, these are something which are in the social sector. We are doing the education sector. Now, when I say curriculum framework, it means we should specify the aims and objectives of the curriculum, contents and subject matter, methods of implementation, assessment, improvement, and so on. This is how a curriculum is decided. Now, again, when we look at the curriculum, we need to decide beforehand what is the kind of emphasis that we will be giving it. Now, what should the curriculum incorporate as far as learning goes? Recall Bloom taxonomy. In Bloom taxonomy, we have three types of learning: cognitive learning, affective learning, and psychomotor learning. There are some sub disciplines where cognitive learning is very important, like mathematics. There are some disciplines where affective learning is important, like moral values, human values. There are disciplines where psychomotor learning is very important, like sports and so on. So when I design the curriculum, then curriculum design should be such that it incorporates the different types of student learning. Cognitive learning, which deal with the information and mental processes, like remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Affective learning, emphasis on feelings, emotion, attitude, and value. Psychomotor learning involves some form of physical activity, coordination between the brain and the muscle. So when I design the curriculum, now it depends where what is to be emphasized more. The curriculum may be of the type may be subject-centered curriculum design. Subject-centered means subject-centered curriculum design involves around a particular subject matter or discipline. For example, subject-centered curriculum may focus on mathematics or biology. That means जैसे कहते हैं ना हम लोग biology focused or mathematics oriented, जैसे honors course in mathematics. Now, this type of curriculum design tends to focus on subject rather than the individual. That means a lot of emphasis on the contents of this subject. Now, student-centered curriculum. Student-centered curriculum design takes each individual's needs, interests, and goals into consideration. That is, it acknowledges the students are not uniform and adjusts to those student needs, which indicates which indicates that when we design the curriculum, we take into account what is the background of the students. We take into account what is the level of the students. We take into account what is this even a social state of the student. So it acknowledges that students are not uniform, and then curriculum is designed accordingly. Student-centered curriculum design is meant to empower learners, students, allow them to shape their education through curriculum. Now, please see here the subject-centered and student-centered. Then problem-centered curriculum. Now, problem-centered curriculum means that the delivery the assessment. So, like learner centered curriculum design, problem centered curriculum design is also a form of student centered design where problems are given importance, problem solutions are given importance. Problem centered curriculum focus on teaching students how to look at a problem and come up with a solution to the problem. Students are exposed to real life issues, which helps them develop skills that are transferable to the real world. Problem centered curriculum design increases the relevance of the curriculum and allows students to be creative and innovative as they are learning by solving real life problems. So, many times there are theoretical, we say theoretical curriculum, then there are real life emphasize, and so on. So, outcome based curriculum, when we have to design, we have to first look at what are the graduate attributes and intended learning outcomes. So we have seen the type of the curriculum. When we have to design it, then it is essential to design what kind of graduate attributes, what kind of qualities, characteristics we expect in our students, and then prepare the program outcomes like that. Then teaching methods, assessment techniques, evaluation, and these things. So this is how. Now the question is, what are graduate attributes? Graduate attributes are the abilities, knowledge, and skills that students should develop as a result of the education and learning on completing the program of study. So this is the what knowledge. Then graduate attributes also represent the broad qualities that are necessary for students to contribute meaningfully to the society and country. Please see here. Graduate attributes are the qualities which we mentioned. That means we want our students to be, let's say, very good sports person, or we want our students to be intellectuals. We want our class to be broad based. That is what will decide problem solvers, creative, and so on. That means those will be expressed as graduate attributes. Graduate attributes also represent the broad qualities that are necessary for students to contribute meaningfully to society and country. For example, a patriotism is a quality, that we expect a student like that. So we express what we want as graduate attributes. They will be for example first year के लिए, second year के लिए, third year के लिए general form में. How do we decide as to what the students are expected to learn, demonstrate, and achieve in life? So GA may be specified for science graduates, for engineering graduates, medical graduates, and art graduates. So once we have decided what kind of graduate qualities we want, then we decide what kind of outcome we expect. An outcome for a first year level student, or a second year level student, or a diploma student, and so on. Graduate attribute help to specify the outcomes and achievements that we expect our students to acquire. Now, please see here a very important slide. This industry wants, stakeholders wants our students or learners to be trained along certain requirements. Maybe industry की है, government की है, parents की है, and that's what we express them as employability skills. Because ultimately, it's the earning, lifelong learning, the earning that is important. That means getting the jobs. No, industry articulates what kind of employability skills, what society says, what kind of human being we want our learners, young boys, young girls to be trained. So let us say they are analytical, what kind of employability skills are required by the industry. So we say now in this slide, on the right side is the employability skill requirement that our learners should be analytical, critical thinkers, creative and innovative, problem solvers, effective communicators, and so on. ये मैंने 10-12 ये employability, these attributes I have written, which are very important to be get employment and succeed in life. That will growth and entrepreneurial mindset. Student के में ये होना चाहिए. Society wants it like that. So this is indicating that society and industry express what kind of our future generation, young individual should be trained. Now these are expressed in the form of graduate attributes. Because I mentioned graduate are the quality. That means our students should have good knowledge of discipline. They should be innovative and problem solvers. They should be, active designers, development. He should be solve real life problems, complex. They should be internet savvy, technology savvy. They should be caring for the environment. Then they should be good team players. They should be lifelong learners and so on. I want my students to have these attributes. Now, these attributes, they are sum up. They express what the industry wants. Industry wants employability skills. That means these qualities, what is given on the right. And I express them in the form of graduate attributes, which I have given on the left side. Now, see here knowledge content, societal requirements, industry needs, global necessities, social needs, etc. All what is required from our learners are expressed as graduate attributes. Right? Now, OBE, Outcome Based Education Framework, says once you have expressed your requirements as graduate attributes, then how they are to be achieved, how those goals are to be attained, the OBE tells us the mechanism along with Bloom taxonomy. So Bloom taxonomy, outcome-based education framework, they enable us to impart education in the format, in the form to the students what industry wants. So we say social requirements, industry needs, employability skills are summed up in the graduate attributes, which are then realized via outcome-based education approach. Now, just a quick recall, you are all aware of these 12 graduate attributes. These are the graduate attributes. मैंने इनके टाइटल दिए हैं. आप इसमें देखो जो पहले 5 हैं, they are discipline. नेक्स्ट 2 जो हैं, they are society. Next, I would say 5 हैं, they are about the individual. Though project management and finance can be individual as well as societal, it's a very generic. Now, 1 to 5 technical, 6 to 12 are non-technical. Please see here. Technical, non-technical. Group 1, Group 2 and Group 3. ये मैंने क्यों लिखे हैं? Because they sum up what the industry wants. These graduate attributes, for example, student should be a problem solver. यहाँ पर आ जाता है. Student should be a technology savvy. वो यहाँ आ जाता है. Student should be ethical. वो यहाँ आ जाता है. Student should be lifelong learner. वो इसमें आ जाता है. Which means we need lifelong learners because environment is changing. So we have expressed them intended learning outcomes as graduate attributes. Now, in graduate attributes, so we have graduate attributes for the BTech program, which you as engineers know. Then we have graduate attributes for the diploma level. Diploma is at a lower level. So here, instead of having 12, NBA has specified 7. Now, look at the 7 also. There is a discipline. There is a environment. There is a project management. There is a lifelong learning. That means these what we expect our diploma students as regard discipline, as regard learning, they are expressed briefly like this. So when I say, similarly, I can write the graduate attribute for the certificate course. I can write this for the management course. Now, education programs are designed to achieve these graduate attributes by expressing them as program outcomes, as POs can be assessed, measured, and achieved. Now, for example, project management, what does it mean? When I express it as a statement, it becomes a program outcome. When I say problem analysis, then it only a title. Then when I explain it, then it becomes explained in such a way so that I can measure it, so that I can assess it, it becomes a program outcome. So program outcome and the engineering curriculum mein, we want to express what sort of engineer we want. How will we reflect, address demands from external stakeholders? What outcome and content should we prepare? And so on. How shall we assess it? So answer all these questions comes from graduate attributes and program outcomes. Now, see here, the program outcomes and program specific. Now, from graduate attributes, help us to define the program outcomes. Program outcomes are statements which express their what the student is expected to learn and demonstrate on completing the program. Set of POs which are common across set of program, that is civil, diploma, etc. They are known as generic program outcomes. Now, there are program outcomes which are specific to the specific engineering program. They will be specific, yeah, but we also known as program specific outcomes. So generic POs are specified normally by the accreditation agency, and PSOs are specified by department institute. Now, the number of POs is generally around 10, right? One can have, one can have, depending upon the level of the course and the expression it carry out. But now, these graduate attributes and program outcome, they serve as the basis for designing the curriculum. Now, see here. Here, I want to emphasize few things because I want to take you to design the curriculum. Let us say, take example. What are the complex engineering problems? Now, let me share it with you, my dear friend. Most of us don't understand what is the significance of complex problems. There are difficult problems, there are intricate problems, and there are complex problems. So, when I say complex problem, this generally means which are not easily understood, for which there is no algorithmic solutions. And Washington Accord has specifically designed these things. So when I design my curriculum, I will see to it real life problems. I will embed my curriculum with real life situation. Engineering problem which cannot be solved without understanding will be like that. So similarly for problem analysis. Kindly see here. I want to emphasize few things. I will not go in detail of it. Each of the program outcome which has been given by NBA and in return by Washington Accord countries signifies very important learning. Look at the second. It says identify, formulate, research, literature, and analyze complex engineering problems, reaching substantiate conclusion using of mathematics. Now this is these जो colored जो मैंने दिए हैं verbs, they are Bloom verbs. When I'm specifying Bloom, all POs and COs are written using Bloom verbs. I will specify Bloom verbs. What does, if I analyze this program outcome, this program outcome conveys this thing. This PO involves identify articulating complex engineering problems. That means my curriculum will be based on achieving these program outcomes. That means 12. So let us say, for example, if I am designing my curriculum for the engineering, they are required to attain these 12. Now, second says you identify complex engineering problem. Complex engineering problem is real life problem, which means when I design my curriculum, then I should give emphasis to the complex real life problems. Then understanding the problem solving process. Now, problem solving process is again the skill which I want my students to acquire. Now, this they will acquire only when my curriculum has emphasis on problem solutions. Now, formulate solution as a methodology for engineering problems. Search references for appropriate solution if required. Analyze and interpreting the outcomes. So, if I am able implement effectively, authentically PO2, then I am helping the student to acquire skills like creativity, analytical ability, communication, decision making, and team collaboration. And now my curriculum design to achieve this thing will have those components where I am helping the student to become creative, to be able to, with analytical mind, to be a team player, and so on. Thus indicating my curriculum based on the program outcome, which are intended outcome, will enable me to make my students much more, I'm strong in developing higher thinking skills. So when I design my curriculum for the first year, I will have emphasis of one type. When I design it for the MTech or the HCA, my emphasis will be on different type. And that's how the curriculum is decided. So when I say problem solving, we always ask students to solve problems. But are the students solving real problems or mere exercises? See, what we ask the student, what is given in the textbooks, that is not problem. That is only a introduction to problem. They are mere exercises. Real problem solving is a critical thinking, decision making, whereas the mere exercises involves only the application of previously learned procedure. Real problem solving is the process of applying a method not known in advance to a problem that is subject to a specific set of conditions and that the problem solver has not seen before in order to obtain satisfactory solution. Now see here, solving complex problem is important component program outcome. Please appreciate complex engineering problems are these things. So we will design our career. Now I will not build well on these things more because time is not will not permit us. But what I am trying to see, my curriculum should be such that it helps me to attain my program outcomes. Now, this brings us to the fact. This brings us to the fact. A curriculum banana hai using based which fulfills the program outcomes. Now it should be first year ka hai, second year ka hai, third year ka hai, diploma ka hai, it should be balanced. That means promotes intellectual, moral, spiritual, aesthetic, creative, and emotional requirements of the student. The curriculum should be balanced. How do I decide that? I decide that by remembering Bloom taxonomy, where there is affective domain, there is a cognitive domain, there is psychomotor domain. Then it should be rigorous. That means our environment is changing, industry needs are changing. So it should be rigorous. Seeks to develop interdisciplinary habits and mind. That means our assignment should be such. The curriculum should be multidisciplinary. Now you remember now in NEP is emphasizing multidisciplinary. For example, the kind of learning one has from a mathematics paper and the kind of learning one has from economics paper, they will be different. And so when I say interdisciplinary, this means the curriculum should be such that my student learn these things and it should be coherent, makes explicit connection and links between the different subjects and experiences. It should be appropriate for the level. It should be focused. What are the requirements of the industry? What is important at the particular moment? Industry is changing, technology is changing. So, what is the relevance? All these attributes have to be incorporated when I design the curriculum. So, the curriculum that I design using PO based on GAO graduate attributes and program outcome will be, it will light overall aims and specific objective of the curriculum, apply the knowledge gained to practical situations. Now, when I have my curriculum, when I teach something, it should take care of the real life issues, feasible in terms of time, staff, enable the student to develop thinking skills and rational power, stimulate greater understanding, foster student openness and diversity, allow students to address their need, cater to total development students in cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domain. That's the curriculum which will help me to meet the requirement of the industry, and this is what is known as outcome based curriculum. So outcome based model requires, when I prepare outcome based curriculum, then OB model says specify the vision and mission of the program, specify the program educational objectives. You have been introduced these things by now, and then program outcome, course outcomes, and then delivery assessment, etc. So the curriculum will have these attributes. So now here, see, when I design and implement process would be, I start with the vision and mission. Now these are the vision is of the institute. From institute, we get to the vision of the department. From the department, we look at the, for example, one department may have BTech in software engineering. It may have BTech in artificial intelligence and data analysis. It may have BTech, for example, let us say in cyber security. The department has three BTech programs. Like we had a three BTech program. Each of the BTech program students, they will have the different graduate attributes. Program outcomes will be different. There will be considerable overlap also, no doubt about it. But they will be differentiated by specifying what are the program specific outcomes. Then the course outcome. Then we specify the course outcome. Now this will decide the what kind of syllabus, what kind of delivery methods, what kind of facilities, and should be designed here. So design, now the important question, which, for example, the focus here in any of these curriculum is the syllabus. See, we know that syllabus is a very important component. So the syllabus may be designed using the principles of Bloom taxonomy. Now, this syllabus will be for this, we will have certain level at certificate, diploma, undergraduate, postgraduate, and so on. So the significant part of the curriculum, the focus is this syllabus. So syllabus for each of these will be dependent on the level of the program that one has. Now each of the program will have different program outcomes. Remember, and then the curriculum will be designed accordingly. So the learning, as we know, may be cognitive, psychomotor, and affective, which you are all familiar. And then when I say course syllabus designed using Bloom taxonomy, now here remember, when it is a first year, then lower three levels of cognitive are important. When we go to the higher levels, upper levels start becoming important. So when I design my syllabus, then the papers that I include, there will be some new papers, there will be something which students have studied in the previous class, there will be papers, there will be contents which will be advanced. There will be three type of content based on the previous studies, content, new content, and something which is student has to like this. So the process of development outcome-based curriculum is like this. Institution vision and mission, then department vision and mission, then department have programs. Each program will have POs, then course outcome will be required, and then the for each of the program. You remember program. So from when we are designing the curriculum, we start from the vision and mission. When we are achieving the curriculum, we start from the course outcomes. So vision and mission, course outcomes help us to achieve the program outcomes. Program outcome help us to achieve the program objectives and vision and mission. So I repeat, the curriculum design. Look at this. The design and implementation. Design starts from a vision. It enables us to define the mission, program objectives, and when we are achieving it, we look at the course outcomes. We look at the program outcomes and so on. So this I am saying the design of the curriculum, design of the, and then achieving the curriculum. Please appreciate this thing because this is how the process of outcome-based curriculum is carried out. See, when we are looking at learning outcomes of projects, learning outcomes of labs, here there is always a issue among the faculty members. Labs are integral part of our curriculum, engineering curriculum, professional courses. In fact, they are making lab, others also. They are important. The learning outcomes of projects. If you look at it, learning outcome, then the students will demonstrate ability for applied domain knowledge in practice. Critical thinking, analysis, problem solving skills. Formulate and evaluate, apply. Then they learn team players, they learn about creativity and so on. So the every curriculum effort is made, especially for professional courses, for otherwise also case studies. After what are case studies? They try to embed these into the curriculum. Now, when we embed these into the curriculum, then the learning of the student is very vast. Now, similarly, when I'm looking at when they are doing projects as a part of the curriculum, then doing real life projects is important. Doing real life projects of duration 6 months need to make part of the curriculum. Project and dissertation or case studies are means of research training and of encouraging a discovery approach to learning. They also serve as effective means of addressing concern for skills and employability, motivating and empowering students, promoting links between teaching and research, talent finding out, complex problem, and so on. So when we design our curriculum, then effort is made to incorporate real life projects, real life problems into our curriculum. That curriculum enables the learning of the student to a much broader scope than otherwise. Now, if we look at what are the salient teaching learning methodology for implementing the syllabus and curriculum, what is the teaching how to implement these things? Basically, we implement these things through our teaching learning methodology. So, traditional classroom, that is a lecture oriented. Main teaching by the teacher in the classroom and assignment completed at home by the student. Now, please see here, we give assignments, the student do at home. Then flipped classroom is a pedagogical approach. Then second method is flipped classroom. Then is cooperative learning. So in the flipped classroom is a approach in which the traditional elements of the lesson taught by the teacher are reversed. The primary educational materials are studied by student at home and then worked in the classroom. This teaching learning has become quite popular in recent years. Now then cooperative learning, methodology that teachers use to group students together and thus impart impact on learning in a positive way. It is like students as learn as a group. It is advocated that working in a group improves the attention, involvement, and acquisition of students by then blended method of teaching learning. This approach to teaching learning blends traditional lectures with portion of coursework that are computer based and typically delivered in an online format. Then, then other BTL, that is a blended method of teaching learning, allows students to learn partly through traditional direct interaction with the instructor in the classroom. Students can learn at their own pace through online units while away from the class. So salient problem-based teaching learning, student-centered approach in which students learn about the topic or subject by solving open-ended real-life problems. Teacher specifies the problems, gives the problem, and students solve them. Then students are assigned a problem by the teacher with only preliminary information. Then they identify resources and work to find the solution. Time frame here is 8 to 10 days. It all depends on methodology. They are not expected to design and produce product or prototype. Another salient method is project-based learning, which is a very important and is becoming quite popular. Project-based learning is a instructional approach in which students get an opportunity to develop knowledge, skills, and competency by by engaging themselves in real-life projects which are normally 4 to 6 month duration. This is what we are doing. But please keep in mind, in our context, students do the projects. If you ask any student what's the learning, they will not be able to say that. Learning is again knowledge, skill. Here we need to emphasize. So there is strong emphasis on student understanding what it is they are doing, why it is important, how they will be assessed. PBLA fosters lifelong learning and gaining newer skills. With PB, a project-based learning approach, students expected to come up with working model or prototype, a real-life project, and so on. Now, problem-based learning, in fact, is a subset of project-based learning, which has been implemented to carry out these things. Now, how do we choose this instructional method? Now, teacher needs to be able to recognize and understand what discipline knowledge is required to be gained by the students. What students already know and don't know, teachers should be able to identify that. How to promote student engagement and autonomy, how thinking skills can be fostered among students, which digital tools are relevant and applicable, what appropriate instructional method of content of delivery, and so on. So please now, when implementing our curriculum, then it is the issue is teacher has to decide what method of teaching, learning, assessment is most relevant. Now, project-based learning has strong potential to fully engage students of the digital age, present student, changing student-teacher dynamics, giving students greater autonomy and support in their learning, fostering the 21st century skills, and facing real-life problems. So, choice of method has to be decided by the student, by the teacher. Now, project-based learning is an instructional method in which students get an opportunity to develop knowledge and skills by engaging themselves in real life problems, which one come across or face in the real world. Please see here, I would suggest and urge each one of you to become quite familiar with the project-based learning method. Here I am giving you only a very quick introduction as to why it's important. And because implementing any curriculum through object from project-based learning is gaining national as well as international significance. Real life and real world problems are always multidisciplinary and complex and open-ended. The reason of project-based learning method being popular because modern day we are in a multi-disciplinary environment, multidisciplinary learning is there. So PBL helps us in these things. Project learning or is not just doing the projects. but refer to the learnings acquired by doing the project and assessment. Kindly appreciate this thing. Never say that हम लोगों ने the project क्लास में कराते हैं. वो project आप they do the projects. I pose the question, what do they learn from that project? Now, when I say learning from that project, this means the various kinds of skills, the various kind of discipline, and so many other things are acquired by the students. So PBL is becoming popular because in PBL we try to train our students in the real life problems. In the so sometimes learning acquired by doing the project and so. Now some people refer to PBLA as project oriented teaching and learning. Some people call them as simply project based learning. These all again depend upon the nomenclature. So project based, problem based learning is a kind of subset of PBLA. This problem can be completed in 1 week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks. Generally, PBLA is for much longer time. Now, when I say effective implementation of curriculum, this, if we implement it, then it helps to realize program outcome to a maximum extent. Our goal is outcome-based education puts the constraint that our program outcomes must be achieved. Now, we should be able to foster higher thinking skills, that is creative and innovative thinking, critical and analytical abilities, etc., imbibe growth and entrepreneurial mindset, investigate and understand complex engineering problems, inculcate problem-solving skills, instill autonomous and leadership qualities. These things student can gain through the appropriate curriculum. And that curriculum is based on program outcomes, and program outcomes are intended outcomes of the students which we have decided. That means we take care of these things. So effective implementation of curriculum leads to realization of vision and mission of the department. Effective implementation of curriculum leads to realization of vision and mission of the department. That is curriculum elements, outcomes of various elements, program learning outcomes, program objectives, and vision and mission. Now, for example, when I say curriculum elements, this means syllabus, this means infrastructure, this means facilities, other facilities for student effective learning, and what are the learning outcome of the lab, what are the learning outcome of the play fields, what is the learning outcome of various facilities, various anything which has a credit. Let us say we will have learning outcomes and we can make it. So what are learning outcome of each of the curriculum element, then the program learning outcomes, then the achieving the PEOs, and then the vision mission. So the effective curriculum would be such which help us to realize the vision and mission of the department or of the department for a particular like this. Now please see here. Please see here. We are achieving our vision and mission starting with how we designed our curriculum. That is, this is a bottom up. But we designed our curriculum top down, starting with a vision and mission to these things. Now, so effective implementation assessment of curriculum will imbibe to help the higher thinking skills. Now, higher thinking skills are very, any curriculum you would always agree that a curriculum should be such that it helps us to make our students better and better in terms of skills, in terms of knowledge, in terms of research, in terms of innovation. Effective implementation and assessment would help us to imbibe higher thinking skills. Remember, when I designed my program outcomes, I had intentionally incorporated as the outcomes which correspond to the higher Bloom levels, that is analyzing, evaluating, and creating. I incorporate that. My goal is to achieve those POs. So my curriculum helps us to achieve those POs, and those POs help me to develop higher thinking skill among the students. And higher thinking skills are synthesizing, analyzing, reasoning, and so on. So the curriculum that I have designed should be should be such that it is helping me to enhance, to develop, to imbibe higher thinking skills in the students. So modern approach to curriculum design is select course out objectives which higher order thinking skills such as synthesis, etc. Course objectives with course objectives with higher order thinking skill such as synthesis, evaluation, creativity. Express the objectives as knowledge and attitude. The student should be able to demonstrate on successful completion of the course using measurable action words. Then curriculum need to reflect and meet all local, state, and national level standards, and etc. and so on. So we will say that design of outcome-based curriculum, implementation of outcome-based curriculum helps us to achieve the objectives of outcome-based education framework. So it is only through the effective design, development, and implementation of outcome-based curriculum we shall be able to know how far we have been able to improve the learning of our students and foster the culture of creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Until unless we do this thing, we will not be able to do it. And the process of doing is preparing a curriculum based on the principles of outcome-based pedagogy, and then implementing it using the current methodologies which are accepted, which address the needs of the students, and so on. So until we spread our thing, we will have no ideas how far we are able to implement outcome-based education system, which is through curriculum. With this thing, thank you very much. Let us ask the question.
Yes, sir.
इंडस्ट्री भी चाहती है मेरे स्टूडेंट में ये प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग स्किल भी हो, क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग भी हो, ही शुड बी गुड ह्यूमन बीइंग आल्सो, सब चीजें वो सीखे। इंडस्ट्री
Yes, sir.
चाहती है ना, पेरेंट्स भी चाहते हैं, और जिस तरह से अब एनवायरनमेंट जनरेट हो रही वो भी वैसे चाहती है। ठीक है ना? अच्छा,
Yes, sir.
आजकल टेक्नोलॉजी इतनी रैपिड एडवांस कर रही है कि वी नीड टू बी अवेयर ऑफ मेनी थिंग्स। अब ये तो दिस इज व्हाट द डिजायर ऑफ इंडस्ट्री, पेरेंट्स, सोसाइटी इज फ्रॉम द स्टूडेंट। यंग मैन से हमारी ये एक्सपेक्टेशन है, अच्छा टीम प्लेयर भी हो, वो दुनिया में क्या हो रहा है उससे भी फैमिलियर हो। एग्री विद दिस? अच्छा, जब ये सब वो चाहते हैं तो मैं इसको एजुकेशन में कैसे उनको इम्पार्ट करूंगा? दुनिया ये चाहती है कि मेरे आपके जो स्टूडेंट पढ़ के आए उसमें ये क्वालिटीज होनी चाहिए, तो उसको तब नौकरी मिलेगी, वो तब कामयाब होगा। ये तो इंडस्ट्री चाहती है। अब मैं चाहता हूँ कि इसको मैं सिस्टम में कैसे बच्चों को ये पढ़ाऊं, तो उसका मेथड ये है, एक्सप्रेस देम एज क्वालिटीज ऑफ द स्टूडेंट। द स्टूडेंट जो है वो ही शुड बी ए गुड टीम प्लेयर, और he should be a very good discipline, he should be very good in discipline, he should be a problem solver। ठीक है ना?
Yes,
तो
sir.
मैंने ये जैसे लेफ्ट पे लिखा, they are the graduate attributes। अब सोचो कि जो कुछ भी यहाँ दिया हुआ है ना, राइट It all gets expressed in terms of graduate attributes.
एक्चुअली
जब
सर
मैं
आपने
प्रोग्राम आउटकम लिखूंगा,
यस सर
ये सारी चीजें इसमें आ जाएंगी। बोलिए प्लीज प्लीज।
सर एक्चुअली आपने ये जो पॉइंट बना दिया ना सर, ये फोकस्ड पॉइंट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट आई थॉट सर। जब आप बच्चों के सामने डिलीवर्ड करेंगे कि ये पॉइंट होने चाहिए, तो ये मेरे को ज़्यादा अट्रैक्टिव लगा सर। जो आपने पॉइंट्स मतलब जो भी 10 मतलब 12 पॉइंट्स आपने मेंशन किया सर, अगर
जी
बच्चों को आपका गाइड किया जाए कि ये मतलब 10 पॉइंट 12 पॉइंट पे आपको ज़्यादा फोकस्ड रहना है, तो बच्चा अच्छे से रेडी हो पाएगा, तैयार हो पाएगा। ये मेरा थॉट था सर।
नहीं नहीं, बिल्कुल ठीक सोच रहे हैं आप। नहीं नहीं, आप एक ऐसे सवाल पोज करो ना, भी इंडस्ट्री कुछ चाहती है, तो मैं
यस सर।
इसको एजुकेशन में कैसे इम्पार्ट करूं?
यस सर।
आप ऐसा सवाल पूछो ना, अपने आप से पूछो। इंडस्ट्री कहती है कि जो मेरे पास जो स्टूडेंट नौकरी के लिए आए, ही शुड बी ए प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग एट्रीब्यूट होना चाहिए उसमें।
ओके सर।
उसने तो ये कह दिया। या ही शुड बी गुड टीम प्लेयर, अच्छा इंसान होना चाहिए, कह भी दिया। अब मैं एजुकेशन में कैसे इसको लिखूंगा, एजुकेशन में कैसे इम्पार्ट करूंगा? तो उसको इम्पार्ट करने के लिए मैंने कह दिया कि ही शुड बी ए प्रॉब्लम सॉल्वर। अच्छा, प्रॉब्लम सॉल्वर तो कह दिया, लेकिन प्रॉब्लम प्रूव कैसे करूंगा कि वो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्वर है? कैसे इसको ये क्वालिटी सिखाऊंगा? तो मैंने उसको प्रोग्राम आउटकम में फॉर्म में डाल दिया। आउटकम फॉर्म में डाल दिया। आउटकम में उसका नॉलेज भी आ गया, उसका स्किल भी आ गया, है ना, और उसकी एटीट्यूड भी आ गई, उसका बिहेवियर भी आ गया। So what I did, I expressed those as graduate attributes and then expanded them as program outcome. Because measurable जो है वो program graduate attributes measurable नहीं है, program outcome measurable है। तो मैंने मेयर करके डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करने की कोशिश करी। That's how what the industry want will be, we will be able to inculcate in the student through our education system. ठीक है?
यस सर।
On your question, very good question.
ओके सर, थैंक यू सर।